Hi, I'm Aeon. This is a video.
Yo, how's it going, everyone? So, I kind of wanted to just talk a little bit about my top 10 easiest extreme demons. Quickly, before we start, I will have to preface that these are, in my opinion, obviously, this is just my humble opinion, and as a person who basically always goes off levels that I've personally completed when talking about gameplay, these are going to be extremes that I've beaten, but I do like to think that I have beaten most of the easiest extremes, so I do think that my opinion is pretty accurate, though it may come and go as some people disagree, some people agree. These are interchangeable. The easiest extremes is all up into interpretation for yourself, but hopefully that is fine. So without further ado, let's just jump into the 10 easiest extreme demons in Geometry Dash. Now, at number 10, we have Red World Rebirth. This level is very high refresh rate dependent. This level is extremely easy if you are high refresh rate. This level is very hard if you're not. Basically, the difficulty in this comes from the very end ship and swing copter. Other than that, though, this is pretty much sleep medicine. I do not think this is a very good level, and if you're a decently good player, I would not recommend doing this until you're, like, really good, because this is not a level that you want to do as a hardest. It is not a level that you want to grind out, because it's just slow, straight fly all the way through. Highly don't recommend this level, if I'm being completely honest with you, and you're going to end up dying to the very end a lot, and I would say this level is interchangeable with Red World. I would argue Red World is harder, because I think the final swing copter and the final ship is harder in Red World, and everything else is just, like, the same. But that is to each their own. Red World / Red World Rebirth, practically the same level. But yeah, Red World Rebirth / Red World is my number 10 spot. Number 9 is Deception Dive. This is a very similar case to Red World Rebirth, in my opinion, where it's not hard, I just wouldn't recommend doing it early. The only reason why it's on here is because it's basically, like, an easy to medium demon for most of it, and then it becomes hard demon at, like, 60% onto, like, 80, and then at 80% it becomes really hard. So this level is very dependent on your experience with the level, because from, like, 82 roughly to 100, it's really difficult. Blame Krampix for that one. It has horrible balancing, so I would never recommend actually going for this level, but it's not hard. This is probably the extreme that most people can make significant progress on, because quite literally some of the parts are like 7 stars. So if you want to make good progress on an extreme demon without actually playing to beat an extreme demon, I would recommend Deception Dive, just because mostly anyone can get like 30-40% on this. The hardest part to get past, if you're not like really good at the game, would probably be Platinum, which is the ship right before the drop, which is pretty difficult, I will admit. But overall, Deception Dive isn't really that hard, and I think anyone can pick it up and try it, but I would not recommend beating it just because of the ending. Number 8, in my opinion, is Forbidden Isle. Now, you may be wondering, Aeon, you beat Forbidden Isle in like 30 minutes. You beat it in 500 attempts. What do you mean number 8? Shouldn't that be like number 1? No. So, the reason why I don't think this is the easiest extreme demon is simply because it's so strictly skill-based. While a lot of the other levels are levels that anyone can pick up and do well on, Forbidden Isle is one of those levels that's just, there's a lot of ship, there's a lot of wave, and it's pretty difficult. The reason I beat it so quickly was because I simply just have very high raw skill. I've beaten a ton of levels that are much harder than Forbidden Isle itself, so it didn't take me a long time to pick up, because it's a very straightforward level. The level itself is very straightforward. It's super simple to play, and I think pretty much anyone who's good at the game can pick it up and beat it quickly, and I think anyone who's just getting into extreme demons can pick it up and play as well. It is high refresh rate dependent, as there's a lot of ship and wave, but I still think it's a good level nonetheless. I think it's a very fun level, and I think anyone can try it out. Number 7, Precipice is one of the levels that I recently beat. This level is very accessible. I would argue that Precipice is arguably the most approachable and accessible level on this list, simply because the gameplay itself is very easy. The difficulty in it comes from the fact that there's a lot of things to remember. It's very sync based. There's a lot of click sync. There's a lot of very like fluid gameplay in the level itself, which makes it flow extremely well. It's a level that is very easy to pick up. It's like a super easy version of something like Valsaretta, which everyone says is extremely accessible because of how well it flows. This level is very much the same. The only thing I would warn about, though, is that the first 19% of the level is ridiculously hard. The first 19% of the level is very hard, but once you pass that, the level is very fun, very fast-paced, and very smooth, all in all. So I would highly recommend Precipice, and it is my number 7 spot.
Thank you.
Number 6, I don't think anyone did not expect this level to come around. It's Acu by Nagefew. The reason why I have this not like top 3 is because I personally think that Accu has some really tricky stuff. The ending of Accu is very hard, and the beginning of Accu is very hard. Unlike something like Precipitance, which only the beginning is hard, Accu has 2 hard parts, which is the end and it is the beginning. The first 25% and the last like 25%. The middle section is pretty easy, and I think most people can get good runs on it. It is very, very nice. It flows well. It's good. It's fun to play. And unlike something like Forbidden Isle, Accu is actually very accessible for all refresh rates, which I think is very, very cool. It flows very nicely. There's very little wave and ship gameplay. There's a wave part around 70, which a lot of people do struggle with because it is pretty hard. But other than that, this level is absolutely fantastic. Very, very fun to play, and I highly recommend most people to try it out. It's very popular for like your first extreme. For good reason. For very, very good reason. So yeah, Accu is my number 6 choice.
Best level in the game.
Now, for number 5, I will preface that I haven't played this level in like a billion years, so I might be misremembering, but everyone keeps saying that this is a pretty easy one, and I don't recall having too much trouble with it, but it's Hypersonic by Vibrant and more. Hypersonic it's good. I like Hypersonic. I always thought it was fun. It has its moments where it's kind of weird, such as Sir Punch's Duel, I recall being pretty hard. But other than that, Hypersonic is just a good level overall, and I do recommend a lot of people trying it out. Do I recommend it for your first extreme? It depends on what you like. It's a level that's just like, do you like this kind of style? Go for it kind of thing, you know? Hypersonic, I don't really have much more to say about it. I just think it's a good level. It's not too hard. It's not too easy. The very good extreme demon overall. Number 4 is Penombre. Penombre. You guys get the deal. Penombre is a fantastic level. It is really good, and I would highly recommend almost anyone to try it out. I think it's probably one of the most underrated entry-level extreme demons, and I would argue that I would like to remake my like 5 easy first extremes, because Penombre is genuinely a fantastic level. It has very good balancing. The balancing is fantastic, except for like 2 clicks, which are harder than everything else. It has a lot of different challenges that you don't really see in a lot of other extremes, such as Swing Copter. You see some interesting dual wave gameplay. You see some cool UFO parts, and you see some like slight memorization in the beginning. And it's overall just a very good level, and it has like a slightly nerve-wracking ending with the final slow cube, and I think it's a very good level. But it's pretty easy. That's why it's so high up on this list. I would highly recommend anyone to try this level out. If you want to beat your first extreme and be a little bit out of the norm, I would highly recommend Penombre. I think it's a wonderful level overall. Now we're getting into the top 3, and I think anyone who knows anything about easy extremes knows what the top 3 is. Number 3 is, in my opinion, Cataclysm. Cataclysm has become infamous for having a really hard first 15% and then becoming much easier. The only choke points really in Cataclysm is the fact that the first wave is absolutely impossible and the 41 ship is really hard. Other than that, it's very approachable for anyone. It is high refresh rate dependent, I would say, so I wouldn't really recommend it if you're a mobile or 60-yard player. But overall, I would say that Cataclysm is a good level with some hindrance in the fact that you will not pass the first wave a lot. I have seen some people who've gotten like 81% with passing the first wave like 7 times. So a lot of the difficulty comes in the first wave, and the last ship can get very nerve-wracking. But Cataclysm overall, it's a fairly easy level. Everyone knows it. It's the butt standard extreme demon at this point. But yeah, Cataclysm is number 3. Number 2 is Thanatophobia. This is around the range where I don't think these should be extreme demons anymore. I think my number 2 and number 1 spots are insane demons, but regardless, Thanatophobia is a decent level, I would say. From the drop, it's pretty enjoyable. I would say the drop is like easily the most enjoyable part of this level. I think the pre-drop is a little bit boring. The first ship part is snooze fest, but it is overall a very engaging level, and I know a lot of people really like it. It has a good song, it has a good atmosphere. It's a very overall good level, and there's a reason why a lot of people do this as their first extreme demon, because it isn't a very accessible level. Levels like Thanatophobia, where there's a lot of timings and a lot of flow and a lot of clicks and holds, are very accessible, and for good reason. They are very enjoyable levels, and I think that most people could benefit from trying these levels out. Thanatophobia is a very good first extreme demon overall. And number 1, the easiest extreme demon, and I would argue the worst extreme demon on this list, it's just that it's really easy, is Ice Carbon Diablo X. ICDX is a 60 hertz player's nightmare. It's horrible to play on mobile, it's horrible to play on 60 hertz. But if you are 144 hertz plus, ICDX is a cakewalk. It's just a ship challenge. It's a decently easy ship challenge with some straight fly here and there. The hardest part, in my opinion, is around the 60s when you like dip down into the thing and you have to like dip down as a ship, straight fly a little bit. I find that to be pretty awkward. But other than that, ICDX is pretty easy. I've seen some of the like better players who never beat the level call it a hard demon. Like they beat it in like 200 attempts. So if you're a decent ship player and you've beaten some stuff, ICDX shouldn't take you long at all. I do not recommend it as a first extreme though, because it's very boring and you're gonna end up dying to 40 a decent chunk. So ICDX is, while it's a really easy extreme demon, is one that you can knock out just to like increase your amount of extreme demons. I do not recommend it as like a hardest, but either way, it's a pretty easy level. Anyway, that's it. My top 10 easiest extreme demons. Red World / Red World Rebirth at number 10, number 9 Deception Dive, number 8 Forbidden Isle, number 7 Precipice, number 6 Acu, number 5 Hypersonic, number 4 Penombre, number 3 Cataclysm, number 2 Thanatophobia, and number 1 ICDX. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and hopefully you guys agree with me to a certain extent. If you have any levels that you believe are easier than these, please leave them in the comments. I would love to see and maybe try and beat them myself. I mostly enjoyed most of these levels. Well, actually I take that back. I didn't enjoy RWR, Deception Dive, and ICDX. But either way, yeah. Hopefully this helped. Hopefully you guys get some ideas of what like the easiest extreme demons are, so you guys have like a rough estimation. Obviously this is not 100% accurate. These are all just my opinion overall. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll talk to you guys later. Eat your green, stay healthy, and I'll see you guys around. Peace out, everyone.